Hi everybody, Jane here. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Welcome to everybody, whether you are a returning viewer or whether you are brand new today. I'm going to be doing a flip through of this Collage Soup book today, which I recently purchased. And after I've done my flip through, I will be doing a time-lapse video of a project using the book. So if you are not wanting to see the flip through because maybe you're going to purchase this book and you don't want to be given, you know, all the secrets away, or maybe you've already watched the video, you want to come back to just re-watch the project part, I will pop on the screen now the time when the project will start. Now this book is called Face It, which may give you a clue for what's in here. And I saw this recently on Claire Stead's YouTube channel. Now, Claire Stead is an artist in the UK, and she has an art journaling or a crafting channel, an art channel, whichever you call it, YouTube channel called Art Journal Love. And I will link that in the description box below, along with the Collage Soup channel, and with everything that I've list of everything that I've used in the video as well. So I was watching it on her channel because this book is a collaboration between Claire Stead and Emily Stone from Collage Soup. So I saw it and straight away it resonated with me because recently, if you've been watching my channel at all, you know that I got this journal and I have been using it as a faces journal. So this is another Collage Soup image from another book actually. So I thought, well, it would go brilliantly with what I am doing in here, but also there are some fantastic backgrounds in this book as well. So I thought I'd do a flip through so you could see the pages, and then I'll do a project. So I will start by saying that these pages in this collage book are different to the ones in Maramy small art books because these are double-sided. They're very much more of a collage style. I don't mind having double-sided pages. For me, it gives me double the inspiration, double the opportunities. But you know, I know that for some people that might be an issue, but I always just look upon it that I've got double the amount anyway. So you know, if I have to miss out on something, then you know, I'm gaining. And also there's a lot of repetition, not repetition of pages, but like if you like, say, butterflies, and there's a page that's on the back of a butterfly page that you want, then there will be another butterfly page probably in the book somewhere else. So this is Face It, book of 90 fancy collage papers to cut up, tear up and stick on. And here we go. So I won't read through everything that it says in here, but we're starting off with some fabulous collage faces here. I love this, a very modern sort of style, this book. I'm loving the different skin tones, the diversity within the book, but equally I'm loving these pages, these really patterned pages that will be great for you know, backgrounds and to tear up. So lovely larger images. I love this one. That's one of my favourites, I think. But also you've got your smaller faces, so you can take your little smaller images, use it as a whole or use them as individual. Again, another fabulous background. Again, this one would be great as a whole background, but you can cut them down as well. I'm just love the colour tones. I love the style of this book. It's just really called to me. Rainbows. Always great for elements on pages, and like I say, so where if you was maybe thinking, well actually I want to use this page, so I won't get that one, but you've got more here, so you don't have to worry about that. Lots and lots of different sizes, and I do love these sort of montage pages, more rainbows. So as I said, and this one I absolutely adore, even though I also adore that one. I may have a problem there, but really lovely book. And the paper is sort of nice and thin, so you can, you know, cut out easily, stick down nice and flat. I personally use matte medium to stick my pages down, but you might use gel medium, you might use glue, you know, it's totally up to you. And if you ever want to make say I wanted to take one of these butterflies. I didn't want it to be so flimsy. I wanted it to be more of an ephemera element or a focal point. Stick it onto a thin card and cut it out that way, and then you've got a sturdier element. So there's so many ways to use these papers in this book, and I just love this one. This really did call to me, this book, and I literally watched Claire's video and then went straight on and bought it. Now I do believe that Collage Soup do digi books as well, so if you don't want a physical book, if you are more inclined to prefer digital copies of papers, then I do believe if you go to the actual Collage Soup website, that is something you can do from there. I personally like to have actual physical products. Oh, see, so I've got more rainbows there. Let me see what's on the back of there. Oh no, I love that one too. That's a problem. But you get so much, is what I'm saying, that you know, it's not a worry. You don't have to worry about it. You're going to. I love echinacea. Oh, gorgeous. And this one again, absolutely beautiful. But then I've got beautiful sunflowers on the back. But this, I've noticed that in this book you also get in some of these more standalone images, you know, that you can cut out the individual pictures. And what I really love is that at the back you have got a page of affirmations or sentiments or quotes, whatever you want to call them, that words to put on your page. Now, anybody who's watched my channel for any length of time will know that 9.9% of the that's not even a percentage, is it? 99.9% of the time add words to my pages. I love words. It's, for me, it is a really important part of my art journaling, but I know for some people it doesn't have to be, and sometimes I don't. If it's something very abstract, I don't always, but I do love words. And there's a little bit about Claire there. She lives in the Peak District, a very nice place place in the UK. I have been there. It is beautiful. And a little bit about her socials, and then a bit about Collage Soup. So you're going to, if you want to go to Collage Soup's actual website, there's some information there. The actual books themselves are also available on Amazon. And then some frequently asked questions, and then a little bit about what the book is all about. And there we go, printed in Dunstable, United Kingdom. There you go. It's because mine was from the UK Amazon. So that's the actual book and the flip through. I'd love it if you could hang around. That sounds a bit weird. If you could stick around and watch the project and see whether, you know, see how these papers can be used. And if you are enjoying the video, do please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love it if you could subscribe as well. And I'll see you when I come back in a second. I started by choosing this really lovely face here of this lady. She's sort of like a collage paper, and I wanted to use the patterned background on the opposite page. Now I was sort of breaking the spine to be able to tear them out properly. I wanted just a little bit of this paper across the other page. I knew that the face was going to take up quite a lot of space on this spread, and this is the Diane Reevely Dylusions large ledger journal. So it's not like the ledger journal that Dina Wakely has. It's got no writing or anything like that in it. It's just the background sort of idea of the grids and things on it. But it is quite a large journal, so I thought this picture would go in really well. So I was deciding where it went. Now I wanted it to go with the flat part of the top of the head at the top of the page, so I needed to fill in the bottom of that page. So this is where some of those strips of paper also came in. I didn't want to totally cover my spread. I wanted there to be a certain amount of white space, and you just see me going in there. I wasn't being overly careful with the eyelashes, but I did want to have a little bit of them still there. So I'm looking at what I want to add to the bottom. Now I had a strip that had the straight edge at the bottom. I thought that would be ideal, and I'm using the Liquitex Professional Matte Medium to stick these on. and I put it on the paper, I put it on the book, I put it over the top. I really do like to try and get it stuck in, and because it's going over the sort of the crease of the where the spine is in the book, I just fold the page in just to make sure that I'm really pushing that paper into that crease. Then I wanted to add some other pieces, so I knew that the lady's face was going to take up most of the right hand side of the page, so I was focusing really on the left hand side with this bit of the process. As I was going to be using acrylic paint with my stencils, I'm adding a layer of clear gesso, and this one is quite a gritty textured gesso, so just to be aware of that if you're looking for gesso in particular. It's the Liquitex professional version. Now I've chosen a few stencils. They are all from Be Crafty. I will list them in the description box below, and I will also provide a link to the Be Crafty page, but do be aware that I'm based in the UK, as are they. Now I'm using some of my HobbyCraft acrylic paints, and I went for quite neon-y bright colours. I was just feeling that that was to go with this page. I don't know why, I just was going with my gut instinct. So I put some yellow down first, and then I left that to dry before I wanted to add the next colour, because what I wanted to do was to lay my stencil down over another bit of colour and then lift it so that you could see partially the page and partially the yellow beneath, because I thought that would be a little bit more interesting than what I usually do. So I'm now just doing that. I'm using a wet wipe just to wipe up the paint. Now I should have probably left that wipe a little bit longer to maybe dry out a little bit, because it was fresh from the pack and it was a little bit wet. But I then also used it to blend out some of those edges, because sometimes when I do this technique I don't like the really sort of quite blunt edges that you get sort of from where you've wiped the paint off. So I thought it was quite a nice idea just to use the wipe to also remove some of that paint or blend some of the paint in. Now I'm using this sort of blue colour and another one of the stencils also from Be Crafty, and I'm sort of trying to overlap it a little bit so that you get a bit of the pink in the background, you get a bit of the yellow in the background, and then you also get the blue from the stencils. And I'm doing the same again where I'm just wiping out those edges just to sort of blend them a bit more into the page. Now I did know as I was doing this that some of that stenciling over on the right hand side of the page is going to be covered by the lady's face, but I like to do it this way around because I think it makes you just be more in the moment of creating on the page rather than worrying about what I'm putting where. I didn't want to put the face down first and then have to worry about getting paint on her, so that's why I did it this way around. And the final stencil I'm using is this little leafy one, because within that background paper that I tore up there was a bit of a leafy sort of silhouette, and I think in the bottom strip you can just about still see it. So I thought I wanted to replicate that back in, and I went with this bright green paint to do that. And here's where that gesso underneath really comes in handy, because if you add gesso first before you do this step, if you make a mistake and you want to remove some of your paint like you do with the reductive stenciling, but if you also get paint where you don't want it, then you can wipe it away. I decided that I needed to bring a little bit more white and in a minute a bit more black back into the page, so I'm using my Posca pens. Now I went with the thicker ones. These are the thickest ones I think I have, which are 3M. You can get lots of different Posca pens. and some of them much thicker, but I wanted them to really work well on this paint, and the paint was dry before I started doing this, so I sort of went through with some of the stenciling, added some white highlights, and then I was looking on the paper, thinking where I'd like to just add a little bit more white back in, and just to sort of lift the page a little bit. Once I'd dried off that background a little bit more, this is the point at which I decided that I wanted to add my collage lady back in. She now I felt needed to be in there because I needed to be able to see what else I might want to add to the page. So the nice thing about using your matte mediums and these liquidy glues is that you do get quite a bit of sort of wiggle time to move that image around, and I find that it lays down really nicely. I do the same as I did earlier, where I put the medium on the page, onto the image, and also then over the top, and it's very easy to then lift up bits that maybe haven't stuck down properly and just add that little bit more of the glue on. I wanted her to stand out a bit more from the page, so I am using my Stabilo All pencil in black. Now, I have a love-hate with this relationship with this pencil. I like the effects you can get, but sometimes it can be a bit difficult. I sort of felt afterwards that maybe I should have used my Inktense pencil, because I do find them a little bit easier to work with when I'm doing this sort of effect, because the Stabilo All does tend to go down very strongly when you first put it down, and you can get too much colour going down, so it requires quite a lot of effort with the watering out, and I do find that I have to go in and out and in and out quite a lot of times to sort of get anywhere near the effect that I want to. But I did persevere on this page, and so I've left all of this in because I think it is quite interesting to see how this comes together. I do also in a moment turn my page upside down, because I think it's important to remember, because I tend to do this as well, where you sort of end up trying to turn yourself inside out, reaching things on your page, when really just by turning the book upside down makes it so much easier to get to the next part that I needed to be sort of creating that shadow for. So it might take a little bit of time, but I do like the effect you get. And because I have the matte medium on top of the image, it also means that if I get anything on that image of the paper, I can wipe it away easier than if I had just left that as the paper and just stuck down with glue on the back. So that's also something to be aware of when you're sticking your images down. now wanted to tie my sort of foreground image into my background image and make it look like it was a cohesive page, although it was okay, but I just like to make some elements be across both sort of pages and across the different images so that it all looks like it's one. So I'm using this stamp set from Crafty, and I will link it and list it in the description box below. And I'm going with these lines. I went with stamps that I felt went with the background images and went with the background paper that I'd also put down. And I am just using black for this. Sometimes I use colours, but this time I just wanted it to be really strong because I had all that brightness going on. So I'm using the Archival Jet Black ink. I gave it a quick heat set with my heat tool because I wanted to add a little bit of whiteness again back in. So I've gone back to that Posca pen. At this point I thought I would add some highlights to my lady as well. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, but to be honest, it was done and I wasn't going to try to wipe it off. So I left them in, and by the end I didn't mind it. But I wanted to add white back into that black stamping as well, just to, I think that contrast between the black and the white gives you that really nice sort of different values in your colours and in your tones on your page. Now at this point I did feel that the bright was very bright and I wanted to just tone it down slightly, but not totally. So I didn't want to use acrylic paint over the top because I felt that would take too much of the colour out. So I've gone with this Tempera paint stick. These are like a children's paint product, but they are really good fun to play with. And if it's going in a journal, I'm not worried about whether it's, you know, professional quality. So I'm just adding a little bit of this white in and blending it out. You get a little moment to blend it, especially where I've got acrylic mediums over the top of my page, so it will sort of move around a little bit, but they do dry quite quickly and nicely. And finally I took a sentiment from the book plus one of these Tim Holtz label stickers and added them to my page before just finishing off. So thank you ever so much for watching my video today. Please do give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and if you haven't already subscribed and you think this is the sort of content you'd like to see more of, do please hit that subscribe button. So until the next time, bye bye.